Senior Living Today, brought to you by these fine sponsors: Wires Inc., First Class Realty, Triangle East, and Ward Specialty Pharmacy.
Good evening, folks, and welcome to Senior Living Today. Cheryl, I can't believe a week's already passed.
Yes,
June
it
is
has.
just about gone. Folks, today, isn't today first day of summer?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, longest day, shortest night.
Right, and it's only, 122 shopping days till Christmas?
That's close enough for me to yep. Folks, we're glad you tuned in. I want to thank you for all the calls that you give us last week. You say, what are you talking about? When we talked about and give you some illustrations on what is available for Medicare supplement. Well, we had questions come in and ask, what do y'all do at Statewide if you're different than an insurance carrier? And I'm going to get into a bit of that, and Cheryl's going to kind of get into it with us. But Cheryl, who are our sponsors that actually get us started here on Senior Living Today?
Right, the folks who help us out here every week. We have Wires Inc., which is Brian West. Those are the folks that make your car run better, look prettier, and sound better.
They do from week to week to week,
Right,
Cheryl.
and Patrick Ignacio owns Ward Pharmacy, which is a specialty compounding pharmacy. So if you have some unusual prescriptions you have to take or some very expensive ones, come and talk to Patrick. He's done some things for myself, my wife, our dog, that saved us money.
Now, Cheryl,
No
when
question about
outside
it.
of annual enrollment period, which you'll hear more about, Patrick can actually do stuff outside of that period for the clients, can he?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Because a lot of people think you can only do things and make changes with annual enrollment period, and that's what he's talking about.
Right.
With Patrick.
If you have a situation where he can compound your prescriptions, then you're not held to that particular timeline.
That's a great freedom to have that.
Oh yeah, it is. And our other sponsor is Brett Hill with Triangle Realty, and those are the folks that will help you navigate this red-hot, insane real estate market that we're still in the midst of right now.
Amen, and he does a heck of a job
They
on
do.
this real estate
They do.
on the side of commercial or residential.
Yes,
Cheryl.
sir, they do.
Folks, kind of getting right into it because it is already almost 5 after and we've only begun to talk a bit. I've got to thank you, and Cheryl and I both thank you, but we're going to tell you a little bit about tonight who Statewide Insurance Group is, what we do, where we're different from so many other carriers, and why you tune in every week. Now, we're going to have a little surprise for you. I don't know if you've heard of it, but Cheryl's going to tell you about who's our lead office coordinator, organizer, lead individual that's in Statewide, and he's going to get to that in just a second. But do any of you play pickleball? Well, you're going to need to stay tuned because in the next couple of weeks, we're just going to have the expert above experts, and we're going to tell you a little something about pickleball, how our seniors get out and do what? Get some exercise. Cheryl, who is that young lady that's at our office?
We would be remiss if we did not mention the person who's off camera tonight. She's in the control tower right now.
Amen.
And yes, runs the show, keeps us straight all week, every week, Miss Devin Bowling.
Outstanding job
Appreciate
she
it.
does, because I know Cheryl Braswell and myself, Joey Bright, are a handful, let alone when we just do the shows here. But folks, Cheryl, I'm going to jump right into it if it's
Yes,
okay.
sir.
Last week when we were talking about Medicare as a whole, some of you fine, educated individuals picked up the phone and said, well, Joey, Cheryl, how do we select an agent? We can come to Statewide at any time, but how do we actually locate a Medicare advisor? And let me repeat that term, Medicare advisor. Folks, there is tons of insurance people out there. And when I say an insurance agent, that's one that sells a little bit of everything. Maybe it's car insurance, homeowners insurance, funeral, burial insurance, life insurance. He's kind of a jack of all trades, and that's a great thing. We need all of our insurance agents. But when you called in last week, you were asking definitive questions. Cheryl, how did it go that they wanted to know, who do I talk to that can advise me on my need and not just trying to sell me something?
Right. That is always an important question and one that we run into a lot. And we're going to kind of get into that in detail here tonight and
Absolutely.
just give you some things to think about. And then, towards the end here, we're going to sort of tell you where we feel like we fit into this puzzle.
Absolutely.
And how we can be, of great assistance to you and your other friends who are on Medicare.
I think it's great. Folks, we have what we call 3 topics, and I'm going to put my glasses on so I can count them, because this was dictated right from a professional, and he was Christian Warshell, who actually gave us the information for who? An insurance agent. Sells many different types of insurances, as I said earlier, life insurance, home, property and casualty. But he's basically someone that sells everything. That's the first type agent.
Right, right.
Folks, the second type is what we call a captive agent. Now, a captive agent is one that really focuses on a couple of products for maybe one company. So he's actually selling for the company. In fact, let me read this to you. I hate to go to paper, but of course, like top off my head, but I want you to hear exactly. A captive agent. This means he or she is able to offer you only a select group of products, whether they fit your need or not. He's only able to do a certain amount of things for you as a beneficiary, the one that's buying the policy. A captive agent, he doesn't get paid. Stay with me. He doesn't get paid, Cheryl, unless he sells you something.
Right.
And statewide is a different animal, and we're going to get into that in just a minute about how there is deviation of statewide insurance carriers right here in Rocky Mount. Now, when a captive agent makes a sale, similar to who? An insurance agent, he gets paid by the company. But does that mean that he has your interest as the beneficiary? Or does he have an interest as a captive agent, Cheryl, to just sell something?
Right. And to me, when I look at the different situations out there, you can look at insurance agents and captive agents have some similarities. From my viewpoint. I feel like the insurance agent is almost, the general insurance agent is almost spread too thin.
Elaborate on that. That makes good sense.
Yeah, and when he's spread too thin time-wise, as well as product knowledge, because one, he's got a lot of different hooks in the water, if you will, things that he has in his bag of tools, and he's got to know what all these things are. And I just feel like at times that may suffer. And,
I totally agree with that.
Yeah, and then the captive agent, similar, and this is true, I think, with the insurance agent, his knowledge base is going to be a little more limited.
Agreed.
Because he's only got, one, maybe 3 products that he can work with you on. And so everything he knows is going to be, funneled into that particular knowledge base. And they don't, my experience has been the ones that I have talked with over time, and I was a captive agent many moons ago, and I thought I was the latest, greatest, and knew everything, and fortunately I've learned that I didn't, and I profited from that knowledge since then. And we pride ourselves on keeping up with the changes that come in Medicare.
Absolutely.
Because, every year it can be small changes, it can be huge changes.
In fact, folks, you've heard Cheryl say with your drug card, what we call PDP, prescription drug plan, you need to contact Cheryl at statewide. Why? Cheryl, you can tell them, but it's changes. You go ahead and tell them it changes every year.
Your drug plan changes every year.
And how does that change? Because you think you've got your...
Every way you can imagine. You may have ABC drug plan this year and it was perfect, fit you to a T. And you may find out if you don't do the background check on January 1 of 2023, 2/3 of your prescriptions are no longer covered by that plan, or else they have a copay that has gone up a lot.
Now, Cheryl, the question that came into the office today, who makes those changes? Let's pick on me. Joey has a great formulary. I've got my medication, it works, my prescription, it all pays. And then all of a sudden, like you said, January rolls around, AEP rolls around, nothing on here is the same.
Right. And
what happens?
every plan, this is federal regulation, every prescription plan has the right to change their formulary every year. They can't change in the middle of the run, in the middle of the year, but when the year starts over, when you get that little statement of benefits that'll come to you September, October.
A lot of people throw that away.
A lot of people look at it, throw it away. You need to at least check it out, or at the very least, call us.
There you go.
And we can help you see if what you're taking right now is going to be covered. We're fortunate we're part of the National Formulary Database, and we can look up every single prescription out there, and we will get all of the plans that are available. We'll use Nash County as an example. And we have your list of medications, and we know that in this county there are 27 plans that you might profit from, that might be good for you to do. And then we can look at them and break them down to the penny as to what it would cost you to have those plans. And we're able to do this. We can do it remotely. You do not have to come into the office. If you have a computer, we can send you a document that you can just type in the information. And when you do this, y'all, it is critically important that you give us every bit of information on that prescription. If it's a cream, if it's a gel, if it's a pill, if it's a tablet,
Totally agree.
It makes a gigantic difference in pricing of that prescription. If you do it for 30 days, if you do it for 90 days, makes a huge difference in how your prescriptions can come out. So we can do that for you. And once we have you an account set up in that formulary database, all we have to do at that point literally is, we can call you and say, hey, we're going to be sending the email document to you in September. Please update it and get it back to us immediately. So we have time to look them over and tell you what's going to be, looks like it's going to be your best option for the upcoming year. And we do not charge to do that. And you do not have to be a client of ours currently for us to do that for you.
That's one of the things I was going to cover here, Cheryl. And another thing to segue to what Cheryl was talking about, Virginia, we cover Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, not just the 19 counties that we're broadcasting here. And it's thanks to people like you that have told their neighbor, their cousin, their uncle or aunt, whoever it may be, whether you're before 65 on disability and you have your red, white, and blue Medicare card, or whether you are turning 65. And as Devin says a lot of times, you want to contact us at 63, 64, prior to that 65th.
Yes, that is something that we've kind of discovered and worked up a way to solve this problem. If you come to us when you're between 60 and 62, I can sit you down and I can show you, I can give you an overview of Medicare. Here's what you're going to be facing in 5 years. We can show you what the gaps are, and we can show you some ways to take care of those gaps that, I'm here to tell you, we can save you $40,000 to $80,000 in health care costs, real money, during your retirement years.
And folks, you may sit back and you look at your spouse right now. Did he just say $25,000, $30,000, $40,000 to $80,000?
Yes.
You bet your bottom dollar he did. And Cheryl, I hate to stop you because you had a roll going.
Yep.
Folks, we're already at the halfway point, and I hadn't even got into the other 2 pages we need to. We love talking to you. Senior Living here today. We're going to be right back after this quick commercial break and jump right back into it. We'll see you in a bit.
Senior Living Today, brought to you by these fine sponsors: Wires Inc., First Class Realty, Triangle East, and Ward Specialty Pharmacy.
Statewide Insurers Group gave us choices in our Medicare coverage. Check out their options to answer your insurance needs. The choice is yours.
At Statewide Insurance Group, we work with every client as an individual case. We try to find what's going to work for you and your needs.
We really do all the research. I like to say we do the nitty-gritty so you don't have to, so we can accommodate everything you need from start to finish.
At Statewide, we want to find the fit that works for you. You need to give us a call. We can do a life review, health insurance, and all of the above. And we're located at 880 Country Club Road, right here in Rocky Mount. And telephone number is 252-316-8166. We look forward to hearing from you. Folks, welcome back. You know, right where we went to break, Cheryl was bringing up a good topic about prescription drug plans, and we don't need to leave that before I get into my last little topic here and even other information that we hadn't even discussed. But Cheryl, would you tell the listening audience what you were just telling Lee and Devin and all of us here on set?
Yeah, this is just a flat out statistical fact, folks. You are going to spend more money on your out-of-pocket on your prescription drug plan than any other facet of your Medicare coverage during your retirement years. So it can be very, very, very critical. One gentleman we work closely with, especially in the realm of tuning up prescription plans and the best ways to do this for clients. He keeps track of literally what he is able to save a client from year to year. And this past year, I believe his total was $145,000.
You were close to it, about $138,000.
Okay. So that's significant money.
That is tons of money. And folks, you can be sitting there right now saying, and we've had it happen, and you know the age of Mr. Brazel, Cheryl, and myself. Well, you know, honey, I don't take any medication right now.
But you will.
And you're right. And what a blessing that is. God has laid his hand on you and your family. But folks, every day things change. And that's the part I'm going to get into now, what I call, throat's going here, what I call the Medicare Advisor. And folks, that's what you have at Statewide Insurance Group, right here in Rocky Mount. You say, well, you don't sell car insurance? No, we do not. We did years ago. You don't sell a bunch of these products? No. We are focusing on that sign right behind Cheryl and I, senior living today. And that's what we focus on in our state and our 19 counties that we're broadcasting to you. And what they call us at Statewide Insurance Group is a Medicare Advisor. Now I'm going to give you a brief snapshot. It's not something that we're going to sit here and talk about, Cheryl and Joey. But a Medicare Advisor does something for you, the beneficiary. And you're the one, when I say beneficiary, Cheryl, that's the one that benefits from the plan that you purchase. Now, so many people will say, well, you know, Cheryl, Joey, I'm coming out of health insurance, been working at the company for 30 years, I'm getting ready to retire. Cheryl, have you had someone walk into you and say, what's the difference in Medicare and my health insurance? I'm still getting. Can you elaborate on that just a little bit?
Yes, we can. That is a great situation because I can literally sit down with you in 5 minutes. If you know the basis of how your health plan works, we can determine in 5 minutes if you need to get off of your company plan or stay on your company plan.
And that means, not to interrupt, but if let's say they were going to work to age 67, you were not going to get out at 65.
Right.
You were not going to retire early at 63. You were going to stay on to 67. Please, Cheryl,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So, at that point, if you're going to stay on board for 2 or 3 more years, we can look at literally the dollars and cents of the difference it would make for you to stay on the company plan versus being on Medicare. And, most of the time, Medicare seems to be a better option, especially when people learn how it works. Occasionally, we have come across situations, and they're kind of unique, but we've come across situations where I look at the person and say, you need to stay right where you are.
Now, how does that affect the employer? If you've been with them for 25 or 30 years and you're at the end of that, folks, we all know this, 63 to 65, and you're still on health insurance, that premium, Cheryl, has got to be awful high.
It is for the employer, and of course, your premium, it also depends on how the company plan is administered.
I got you.
And it's going to be, a significant amount of money for the employer to keep you on the plan.
So he might like it if you were to come off.
Yep.
And again, Cheryl, I'm going to try to tag what you're saying with a Medicare Advisor. The difference is what Cheryl and I and the team does at Statewide Insurers Group. You come in, sit down, or like Devin and Cheryl said, you do Zoom calls, telephone calls, ever how you wish to retrieve this information. Cheryl is knowledgeable, Devin's knowledgeable, myself, but when the question comes up, what does a Medicare advisor do? He is looking at your situation.
Yeah.
He's looking at your need. And the beauty of being a Medicare advisor, he's able to do what, Cheryl? He has multiple products.
Right.
I would say multiple companies to pull from.
Yes.
Would you agree with
and
that?
To me, one of the true advantages is when the companies that we work with that have a focused Medicare arm of their operation.
Yes.
They are constantly bringing us, new information. Here's changes we see coming. We can get continuing education through the different companies that explains what the particular idiosyncrasies of a particular product may be, and so you're ahead of that. And we also get, insight into, unique situations. I mean, honestly, I hope you could see it the same way I did. For the last 2 years, I have run into more different, unique, and I'll just say it, weird situations.
Yes.
when we had someone who was looking at going on Medicare. Just very different. And so that's been an educational point for us. We've learned, and fortunately, we may not be the smartest guys in the room, but we know where his telephone number is.
Absolutely.
And we know how to get a hold of him and get the answers to what our clients need to know.
And you hear what he just said, what the client need is.
Yeah.
And that's the critical difference in what Cheryl, myself, and the team at, of course, Statewide Insurers right here in Rocky Mount do. Now I'm going to read you something that's a little bit different, won't take but a second. A good Medicare advisor will do what during the year, Cheryl? He's going to contact you, the beneficiary, just to make sure during that year, not before annual enrollment, October 15th to December 7th, is that correct?
That's it.
Okay, that you're going to make your changes. But what Cheryl and I do at Statewide, during the year, we're going to pick that phone up unless we hear from you and do what? Just a checkup. Is everything going well? Are you happy with the plan that you picked up here at Statewide? Cheryl is a master at looking at what you have now and saying, has your life changed? Have you had any changes in your life, medication, health-wise, health issues? That's what a Medicare advisor does. And the difference, you're hearing it. Cheryl?
Well, this year in particular, this just came back into the forefront of my brain here. There is a particular program this year that has changed, and I think it's a huge benefit to the general Medicare
agreed.
the general Medicare clientele. So that's something that we'll be doing in July and the first part of August, is literally calling all of our clients and saying, just want to make you aware of this, with the products that you have in place, this is how this would fit in there.
And Cheryl, you know a lot of things about this, folks, and you need to hear us here because, Cheryl, Devin, everyone, $5 a gallon of gas, what I'm about to tell you, it's important. And you say, Joey, what are you talking about? Most of your insurance companies, agents, most of your, what I call captive agent, they're going to charge you a fee, an hourly fee or whatever. Some do, some don't. The difference in what we do and what Cheryl was just explaining, you mean you pick up the phone and call me and invite me in to see if I've had any changes? Well, how much does that cost? Everybody is deciding now if you're living on Social Security and that one check. Cheryl, you had one today. Mr. Brazel, I don't know if I pay my rent today or do I buy my food. Do I buy my medication today or do I pay my car insurance? Everyone is having these issues. And as far as a Medicare advisor like Mr. Brazel, that's why you want to do one of two things. You can sit at home and hope everything is fine, or you can pick up that phone or just come by 880 Country Club Road right here in Rocky Mount and walk in. And I need to see that man on TV, Mr. Brazel. I got a couple of questions for him. And the man talking said it wouldn't cost me anything. You have to come out from that comfort zone.
Yeah, yes, you do.
I think it's a time now, in the times that we're living, and Cheryl, I'll ask you to pick up on this because we're running out of time, and I'm going to give you one last little tidbit on that Medicare advisor. But Cheryl, is there a reason wholeheartedly, and you have a list, a cadre of brokers and people that we have access to in the companies, but you have a list of clients that a mile long. Do we want to encourage them to come in?
Absolutely, absolutely. If it gives you a comfort level to just have a little conversation about what you're doing and what we see maybe changing for you in the next few years, hopefully, we can put you in a better position financially as well as health-wise.
Yes.
And because things change, folks. I mean, there's been some pretty significant changes in the Medicare world of North Carolina in the last
Absolutely.
24 months. Some significant changes. And
sometimes we will get, and I'll speak for myself, folks, sometimes we get complacent. We really don't want, I'm fine. I don't need a change. I really don't. And then you run across somebody at the supermarket and finds out that, well, Cheryl, I'm not paying anything. Well, Cheryl, I'm paying $239 a month. How do you do it? You need to go see the folks at Statewide Insurers Group. My last little bit, Cheryl, and I'll turn it over to you to close. Let's say you have, and I got to read this because it's written by another author. Let's say you have a health condition that requires specific treatment. A Medicare advisor can help you find a plan that will cater to that need, to your need.
Yes.
Where so many other folks, Cheryl, that are just looking to make a sale. How much on TV are you just pounded every day about, well, call and see if your zip code is where it needs to be or your telephone number?
Right.
So remember, in closing, and I'm going to pass it over to my brother, remember, an agent acts on behalf of the insurance company. A Medicare advisor works on behalf of the customer, the client, the beneficiary, and that's what you're going to find at Statewide. Cheryl, my gosh, it's already 6:28. You want to kind of wrap us up here, sir?
Yes, sir. Folks, give us a call. Our number is 252-316-8166. We're located at 880 Country Club Road here in Rocky Mount, the intersection of Country Club Road and Hunter Hill Road. Right there on the corner, I call them a business condominium sitting on one corner there. Come and see us. It costs you nothing to have a little consult and maybe understand some things you didn't know about your plan and maybe get some ideas of things that might be able to help you out in your next few years in Medicare.
Folks, we got 1 minute left. I want to throw something out to our sponsors. Cheryl, I'm going to miss one or two here, so please back me up. Wires Inc.
Yep.
They are great, great people. Folks, there's something in our time right now we need to shop local.
Yes.
Patrick at
Ward Pharmacy.
Ward Pharmacy. We want to make sure if you're dealing in your prescription medication and you have questions.
He's got brain supplements too there, Mr. Bright.
I know where I'm going. But I'm going to tell you now, you can take your prescription right to Patrick, and he'll sit down and talk to you, and I bet he doesn't even charge you. He doesn't charge you anything for that.
No, not for a consult.
And then our last one we've got, Cheryl, was our...
Brett Hill, Triangle East Realty. Great folks. They will help you navigate this insane real estate market we have right now.
Folks, in closing, for Cheryl, myself, Devin, the team at Statewide Insurers Group, we cannot do what we do for you. It's only because of you walking in that door, picking up that phone and inquiring about your health, your well-being, and what is the best thing for myself and my family. For Cheryl Braswell, myself, and all of the team, Devin Bolden, Senior Living Today, thanks you, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Have a blessed week. Take care. Thank you for tuning in. Good night.
Good night, folks.